What's going on? I know. Same story. Hearts break hard, man. It's so brutal. It's like the one that loves the most loses the most. The more you have invested in your chest, in the game of chess and life of chance and romance, and all you give for at a glance and take a chance on to give your best to, that's who loses the most. If you don't care, there's nothing to bear. No weight, no loss, nothing to create. You just leave love for hate. And that's what makes it such a hard debate. Because I'm wrestling with the concept that, like, I love you. And you're my best friend. And suddenly it's the end. And yet we're both alive. And you're 20 minutes away. And you were 2 seconds away. In my house, in my hands, in my home, in my heart. And you've chosen to not be a part of that. You've just suddenly chosen for life partners in love to suddenly be strangers. Best friends 1 second, strangers the next. It makes no sense. I'll never understand it. And I wrestle with the Rubik's Cube of life every day. And every day it dismantles itself again. Tomorrow it's another Megatron, whatever, the Mega Cube. You know what I'm saying? It's just a Rubik's Cube of life that you can't just let it go. This is the person that you loved, that you was guaranteed thought was going to be your wife. I mean, I low-key asked her to marry me a couple years ago. It was kind of like done in a sly, subtle way. It was on my birthday, and I kind of said, I'm giving you this ring to be with me for life. And I did say those things. And I couldn't tell if she picked up on what I was laying down. She took it, she wore it. She later, just this past year after one of her graduation ceremonies, said that she was wearing it. And I thought that was weird because I couldn't go to the ceremony. Only allowed one guest each. Just whack, right? So her mom went. But she wore all the jewelry I'd given her. I mean, not all of it. I'd given her a lot. She wore a couple of the special rings, necklaces, even a dress I got her, and the lab coat that I bought her, designer. Their name, Dr. E, engraved on it. Engraved? Embroidered. So the point was, she wore all the things that I gave her, symbolic gestures of love and promises forever, but what we are. And then I think she was wearing it because she knew she was trying to cover up her infidelity. I think she was doing it to try and pretend to hold on to something that she knew she threatened. And now in doing that, she doubled down on, it's not really love bombing, but promises. And what those tokens symbolize. And I realize that now because that was just like a few weeks before she left. That she'd already been lying to me and cheating on me before that. So I think it's hard for me to understand, but I think that she was wearing those things as symbols to try to reaffirm our relationship to herself in denial of what she was hiding, in denial of her infidelity, in denial of her having a relationship with someone else. And she did that to hide her shame. She simply hid her shame. She was, I think, ashamed of what she had done and thought oh no, what have I done? And now I'm going to try and be better at home. And so I'm going to wear these tokens of love and respect and honor and loyalty. Oh, crazy road. To affirm to herself that she's still noble and with integrity and honesty and loyalty. But in reality, that was all part of the cover for her own character to feel colored in, you know, in the light and not cast in some shadows of what she might have done. Because as soon as she was later exposed in those lies, she admitted, I lied, and then I said that would have been hundreds of lies. And why? I mean, I know why. I'm just asking her why. And she said, because I'm a shitty person, that's why. And then ran away. And since has shifted blame to me. From, like an archaeologist. Years ago, you did that thing. And I was like, oh, yeah, that was a long time ago, but we have overcome so much, and that's not the breaking point of this relationship. Justify anything you want to just hide from whatever you're willing to not face. The reality and the truth for some version of her truth. This whole concept of your truth and my truth is bullshit. That's not how it holds up in court. Well, you see, Your Honor, my truth was I didn't kill them. You see, it was letting them live without living. And my truth was I wasn't guilty of it. We caught you with your hand on the gun, covered in blood, and someone saw you shoot them. No, but my truth was it was a water gun, and we were playing games. So I'm free to go. You're free to go because your truth is okay. Your truth is you're a woman. Your truth is you're a beautiful black woman with a majestic penis. What? There's the truth, and then there's delusions and lies and covering of lies to make yourself feel less ashamed for the things you did. And I don't want you to feel ashamed. I want you just to come forth and stand by it. I'm not going to shame you for it. I'm actually not. I'm not going to even blame you for it. I understand people make mistakes. But you keep making mistakes by hiding them more. It just makes it worse. It's like a junkie who got caught doing it and then said, no, I'm not doing it again, and then did it again. They didn't heal themselves. They got worse. They went and did the poison again. And then the lies are the same thing. It's another lie, cover another lie, cover another lie. The truth shall set you free. But people are mostly afraid of it. I mean, look at media. Media is all full of malinformation, bad, misinformation, disinformation. It's just it's so mental. Nobody wants to actually confront reality of information. And we just pump you full of information. Then it's like there's too much. And we're all conditioned on just send in more. Just overwhelm them. So yeah, people just can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. Jack Nicholson, Tom Cruise, A Few Good Men. Are there any left anywhere? I try to be the best man I can. Oh, I gotta go. Hang on, so this road's crazy. A Few Good Men. Are there any left anywhere? And I'm not even looking for a man. I'm looking for a woman. So is there any good men left that made good women? Like any good fathers out there who have raised their daughters properly to not have daddy issues and then not also be too much of a perfect daddy? I mean, in the sense that now no man measures up to them. It's a very fine balance. And to be honest, I'd rather have a really great dad for the daughter and the daughter have a hard time measuring up to finding a man as good than a father that wasn't there for the daughters and made these women broken people. Ones that are either, avoidant of their emotions because their dad was disconnected, or ones that are constantly searching for a new daddy with daddy issues because their daddy wasn't there. So you find that in strippers, escorts, sluts, and all the people like this that are, promiscuous. And I'm gonna throw my ex into that category because her daddy wasn't there. He was a James Bond secret spy and cool guy, but who's super reserved. Like, hello. Like so emotionally masked that if you asked him a question, you never knew what part was a lie, what part was true. These people are experts at two truths and a lie, or whatever the game is, because they live it, they live by it, they die by it. And it's like, it's so crazy that I recognize her promiscuous behavior as when it's loyal, it's attractive. When it's disloyal and promiscuous with other people, promiscuous, for my benefit, in a monogamous relationship where you have a high sex drive and are playful and titillating, as they say, exciting and fun. But if you're going to be promiscuous with other people, not cool. Not cool. You have an agreement. You have a health agreement too, and you have an emotional agreement. That's not a jive thing to do. Polygamy is a Marxist trick to break up the family and the relationships, and in lockstep with feminism, lesbianism, LGBTQ, BIPOCism, all the alphabetisms, all of it is Marxism. A financial institute switched to a social justice of sorts. It's all nonsense to create a nonsensical society divided by people, overridden by nonsense words like inclusion, which just cause more seclusions, delusions, and confusions. And my partner, who is now my ex-partner, and I have a hard time saying that, is in the cult of Marxist mind virus ideology from her father that was a secret spy that was emotionally unavailable and taught her to be emotionally unavailable and put her emotions into a box and not even have to address them, to constantly just present, hi, good, great, everything's wonderful. Fake presentations, which are really useful in most of society. Showing your emotions in society is considered a weakness, and people then can press on your weakness. He's very sad, he's very mad, he's very whatever the other emotions are you could be, just the spectrum. So if you present like Mr. Perfect, much like the professor that she's cheating on me with, it's easy for everybody to think that you are. And then hide your true emotions, lie to your wife and children, and fuck your students. And, as long as nobody knows, nobody cares. It's just like, I didn't know she was capable of such deep lies. And I know why. Her family was secret spies. So she's had a lifetime learning from masters of disguise. And I just realize. Tupac, what's up? You said it. That's truth. It's fact. No cap. And now that's where it's at. I'm still struggling with the reality that all these people are swept into a Marxist cult, truly. And the ideology is spread through the psychology of peers and peer pressure and other people around, and propagated by media and propaganda and social media and wherever else they go feeding you. The school's institution, the long march to the institution. This is not new. This is old stuff, been going on since like WW2 and before. Antonio Gramsci was like WW1. We're talking like Mussolini, you know? Like this is crazy stuff. This is not just Hitler and fascism, Mussolini and authoritarianism, fascism, dictatorship, all this stuff. It's coming from the same censorship mothership, and how that affects relationships today. How whack is that? I mean, it's crazy to think that the person I love has been corrupted by this same cult. Hang on, a lot of people around. One sec. That's right, the cult that everybody is in, and so few can see it, but the reality is so many are swept into it. And sadly, relationships are ruined by this old, archaic, but still very like prolific and modern twist of old Marxism to become all these new isms. And it's the transhumanism. It's the movement against tradition and family and religion and love and matrimony and all that is holy and keeps us together. The family unit, the love of man and woman together to create a family. And that is basically how life goes around. Because without man and woman, there is no union, and then there is no new generation. Now, the transhuman movement, operated by Marxism, is having all these isms, whatever they are, transhumanism, racism, ageism, sexism, all the things that create divisions and classes. Because the original Marxism was a class between the rich and the poor, the victim and the victor, right? The attacker or the aggressor and the obsessor of who has lesser. And so it's like the same thing. It's them. They're the ones that did it. I'm the victim. They're the ones. It's always the same manipulation. And when you can't point fingers at people, understand that that's a big problem. Like when you can't say, well, it's those ones over there. Whoa, well, you're not allowed to talk about them. You're not allowed to say that group of people or that number of people or this section of people. Then that limits debate, conversation, and accusations that actually need to be pressed and pushed upon. So if anybody thinks that they're above or below where you can toe the line, that is designed on purpose. And this old Marxism from, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels from like 1840 something, it systematically created World War I. And then that ended of that began all the reworking of the communists, Antonio Gramsci and stuff, which systematically then had uprisings against them, which was, like Hitler and Mussolini. And they had authoritarian dictatorships for social national reform to create the strength again among their people. And then that brought about World War II. But then all that stuff is happening again in the world because they just imported it to the Western world and to Europe after 1945. And it's just been escalated ever since then. And all the people we have as our seniors, born in the 1940s and 50s, are now, the grandparents of today. And how many years left do we have their wisdom before the next generation is, I guess, like the baby boomers who are like, born in the 60s and stuff that are left. And they're not even educated either because they also were raised in the indoctrination system that keeps us all basically slave minds to the same system of what we are supposed to think and learn and know about money, love, relationships, and marriage, and religion, and faith, and tradition. And under these conditions, we're all kept small, insignificant, in separate, different little boxes. And you're not allowed to talk about that. You're not allowed to say that. Censorship, mothership. Censorship, keep that lip quiet. No more whips and quips. Here's a hot tip. Speak out. Speak out. Don't be afraid to doubt yourself. Because we're in the age of AI where everything is just like, well, the algorithm says you can't say that. And more so, people are now know that and instead are censoring themselves in advance, knowing this type of content might get them in a shadow banned or in a block banned situation. And then if the media gets lots of complaints about that, this person got shadow banned and blocked, then they're not going to look good. So instead, it's this understood 1984 blocking of who you are inside your mouth before you even get it out the door. We're already doing self-censorship before we even can get it out of our lips. And we're afraid, this content might say the word or Gil Bates, such and such, or Effie Jepstein, such and such, and then you're not allowed to say these things because then you get, the algorithm will notice you, and then you'll get suppressed. And by suppression, that's a form of keeping your mouth shut. And then people go, well, I don't want to be suppressed. I want to make my content. I want to be seen. I want to be heard. I want to make my money and my opportunity. So I got to think about only things I can think about that I'm allowed to think about. I'm allowed to think about what? Tell me what I can think about, and I'll speak about that. That's where we're headed. And so you're not allowed to say that this relationship broken up because of these Marxist concepts that are pressed upon the media, the people that are feeding you this propaganda to break up the family and tradition and love. And that was broke up my relationship. That was broke my fucking heart. I have personally invested in all this against the Marxist I'm the anti-Marxist movement, Marx against Marx, because it's what broke up my relationship. It wasn't the fact that I'm not a millionaire yet. It wasn't the fact that he's more attractive than me and got a bigger dick than me and better in bed than me. Not a chance. It was because she was corrupted by the snake mind of her professor in a Marxist institution that was making her think ideology to go with the psychology of things like must be women in the workforce and such and such and such. And there should be women in the workforce. I'm not against that. I'm simply saying this is some of the tools used to propagate and push forward to break up family units. Because guess what? Men can't really be women. We can pretend, we can present as, but what I mean defining women as who is the womb man, the womb man, the man with the womb. That's the woman. That's how you define them. So the woman is the one with the womb, and she's the one that can have children. And no matter how much we can try and look pretty, but we cannot do that. So women in the workforce is a beautiful thing, good, but it limits who can have children. And if women are sold on the fact that they need to now be working all the time and they're going to now have a relationship with a married man who's already got children, that means I lost my partner to a snake mind of a mind of a man that sneaked into her mind over 3 years of pushing her, propagating her to be her little cute student. And she lost the realization that I'm the future generation, me and her together. We are the future together where we would have a family. And then she would work for many years, and then we'd take 2-3 years off to have children, and then she could go back to the workforce. But she got confused and used by an abusive system that leaves her now at 34 and a half years old with no proper mate to have a family. How perfect. The system wins. Because now 2 people don't get to have their lineage continue. Me and her. Both left with heartbreak over Marxist ideologies that broke up who we are. And that other professor is to blame, partly, yes, because he was a selfish snake mind who already had a wife and kids, and he didn't think about the holy sanctity of that union and disrespected it. And I slept with another person. So he broke his vows and did the dirty deed with somebody else he did not need to do that with. That's home wrecking. That's part of it. So he wrecked his own home without the home knowing it, and wrecked my home and my partner's home and killed our future children, all by being a selfish person who just wanted to have cheap sex on the side with his student. See how this all wraps around? Everything's connected. It's the circle of life. And it's a really scary reality when you see how the Matrix twists it by Marxism. And that's what broke my heart. And that's what destroyed my love. And that's why I can't stop talking about it. Because it's not just some bitch that didn't want me. It's the love of my life, and I'm the love of her life. And she got skewed and screwed by a lewd, crude dude in a Marxist mood who is in the environment, in the climate change of people's minds, being propagated and pushed all over the place. And unless you can see, then you're blind. So put on the glasses and find the truth, and then speak it out. And may God help us all. Peace.